Welcome and hello there. So, Rapid Reinforcements 2 just dropped, and I gotta say, I am absolutely hyped. So, as any sane person would do, I want to talk about it. I thought to myself, I'm just gonna start at the top left and just uh, talk about every card and give my objectively correct opinion on it. Hint, hint, sarcasm. So, first of all, we've got Anakin Skywalker, who was teased at Adepticon, and we can still see that as Captain Rex, in fact, in the back of the picture. And as I correctly predicted, it is, in fact, Anakin Skywalker as an admiral, which makes perfect sense. What I also correctly predicted was that he has two effects, and I think both of those are really, really good for Gar, especially for Gar All Ship, because like Gar already has three admirals that are good for squadrons. So having one that is very good for ships, mwah, I love it. So while a friendly ship performs a salvo attack, it may add one die to its attack pool of a color already in its attack pool. So this is the first card in the game that lets us actually add dice to salvo, and I think it's in and of itself a really good effect. I mean, almost every Gar ship, I think only the C70 does not have a salvo, so every other one does have a salvo. And then the second part might actually be a bit broken in my opinion because it's like really, really good. So once per activation, after a friendly ship performs an attack that targets an enemy ship, that friendly ship may spend one salvo defense token. If it does, it may perform a salvo attack targeting the same enemy ship. And this sounds dumb to me. Like if you've got your great little Venator and you shoot at your enemy, and then you just turn a salvo around and say like, okay, let me salvo you for, I don't know, 4 more dice, because on that salvo he's also going to add a die to the attack pool. So I think we're gonna see definitely more double Venator lists with this. I think last Polish Masters, or was it the Polish Masters before? I'm not entirely sure. But they were won by a double Venator. I think that was with Tarkin and Svats. But now we might actually see that with. I mean, you could still do it with Swat, but I think you are going to see double Venator with local fire control and the the offensive retrofit, which name I forgot, that lets you shoot your salvo dice one range band more outwards. So that would, because then you would have your attack on the Venator, and at medium range you would also give them 4 dice into the face after you attacked, which is, it's just so good. Anyway, I love this. We're gonna see more all ship for Gar, and I think this is good. Going on over to a card for the Rebel Alliance that has not been spoiled yet, and that is General Draven. You might still know him from Rogue One, or I think he's also in one scene in A New Hope. Anyway, choose command dials for this card after deploying fleets. So we're gonna choose 2 command dials. At the start of each ship phase, you may reveal and discard 1 command dial from this card. If you do until the end of the round, when an enemy ship spends a matching command dial, it resolves that dial as though it spent a token of the same type instead. And I read through all of these, and I think General Draven is the single brokenest card, the most broken card coming out of Rapid Reinforcements 2. Because if you think about it, he's not always broken. So if you're like facing all ship, well, making a repair dial into a repair token is not so good. Making a confire dial into a confire token, also not so good. Making a navigate dial into a token is still like, all these 3 cases are good usage of an admiral. It's like it's a good one. It's just not very good. But then if you look at a squadron fleet and you have something like a quasar that can activate 5 squadrons with its dial if it has expanded hangars, If you look at a Venator 2, which has 5 squadrons natural, and you say, well, yes, but now you can only activate one. This potentially breaks the neck of any squadron fleet. If you need a carrier in your squadron fleet and your enemy knows that, he's just gonna bang 2 squadron tokens in there, and I predict we're gonna see General Draven with a lot of squadron fleets. And then you just, in the second turn when you want to engage, or maybe the third turn when you want to engage, you just reveal a squadron dial and you say to your opponent, well, yeah, you can activate squadrons, just not all of them. You will probably just activate like 3 of them. And that is absolutely, absolutely broken. I think this might kill Sloan, this might kill Republic squadron balls, this might even kill other rebel squadron balls for that matter. And I mean, separatists, it would kill separatist squadron balls if they were any good. Controversial, maybe, but yeah, in my opinion, Seppi squads still not good. I think there would have to be some way to circumnavigate this, like something. I mean, you can have a raid, and you have a way to not suffer from that raid. And I feel like this would also have to be able to, I don't know, you would have to work around this some way. Like maybe uh, if you spend a token, you can still spend your dial as a dial or something like that. But then Draven wouldn't be good at all, probably, because then he would just be like a discount Count Dooku, which, yeah. I mean, Dooku is fine, but Draven would be the same, just with less command dials. I mean, with 2 instead of 3. So, well, I mean, when I think about him, I actually look kind of like him on the picture. It's like I'm not a fan. Anyway, moving on to Asajj Ventress, another card that has not been spoiled yet. I'm going to read it really quickly for you. After you perform an attack targeting a ship that has 1 or more raid tokens, if the defender suffered 1 or more damage, you may remove 1 raid token and 1 command token from the defender. If you do, gain a matching command token. Now, that was a mouthful. And I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan because, let me say it, rate isn't that great. Now, you could argue, well, we have TF on the Separatists, so rate is actually okay. And then I would argue to you, yes, but TF wants the raid tokens on the enemy ship. He doesn't want to remove them. And then on top of that, Asajj says you have to have damaged your opponent. So if you just do like a plink attack and your opponent evades, well, you're not even gonna be able to do it. Why is that with the damage in there? Like this wouldn't be good if it didn't have the thing with the damage, because then you would still remove the raid, which you desperately need with TF, with the raid bot. Um, to gain a command token. Wow, oof, you're gaining a command token. Cool. I mean, it's cool to remove your opponent's command token, because then you could hypothetically think of something, well, you squad raided him. Now he takes a squadron token, so he can clear the squad raid next turn. But then you Asajj Ventress him, so he doesn't have the squad token anymore. But guess what? He also doesn't have the squad raid anymore, so that's kind of dumb. And then you would have to add a squad raid to still have the effect again, which is, ugh, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Gotta say it. I'm sorry, but I'm just not a fan. Anyway, moving on to Governor Price, which is the only card that got spoiled completely at Adepticon. Um, I still think the same as I did when she was spoiled. She's a good card, and she's going to be used in a lot of Imperial fleets. I think we're going to see her especially on onagers, but she might also be a good commander for an ISD who has a lot of shields. Maybe we'll see Mad Lads running it on a Gladiator to ensure that second hit crit. But then again, a Gladiator is a bit flimsy, so subtracting shields from that might not be the best plan. Anyway, trying to scroll down. Well, yes, scrolly scroll. Four more cards. Let's go. This is actually 8 cards. Like, I love this. They said it would be smaller in scale than Rapid Reinforcements 1, and now we actually have one more card than Rapid Reinforcements 1 had. So, yeah, absolutely perfect. Now, Volt Scarus, a TIE Interceptor Squadron. And I gotta say, I'm a huge fan. This guy is very good for his 18 points. During the squadron phase, you cannot make a non-counter attack, which first you'd think, well, that is a pretty bad trade-off, right? But then you look at him and you see, well, he's got counter 4 and swarm, and he's got a scatter and an evade, which is a terrific combo because on a 3-hull guy, I'd rather have the evade than the brace, I think. Because, well, let's face it, well, you can make like 1 damage go away sometimes, which is very good. Anyway, he also has double blue, double black anti-squadron dice, which is very nice. And I think he is gonna either replace Sienna Re or add to Sienna Re when looking at those small fighter complements. Because now you can get Sienna Re for 17. You can get what's his face? The 13 point guy that cannot be attacked. And you can get Volt. And the 13 point guy that cannot be attacked is safe, and the other two you don't really want to attack. And as long as you activate Volt Scarus in the normal turn, his effect of you cannot do normal attacks in the squadron phase won't even have an effect. Because you will have done your normal attack in the ship phase, which is not even that bad. And he's counter 4. Counter 4. It's I well, I love him. I mean, I think a lot of balls will still not take him. Like, I love to run my Sloan ball right now, which is for aces, that is Vader, Merrick, Jandon, and Mauler, and I feel like those are probably the 4 best squadrons for Empire right now. But if you want to have a small ball that just defends, he is so good. Well, also, looking at him, I think it's going to be much more important in the future to have something that can deal with him. So either you have something that does damage without attacking, like Mauler, like Anakin has to attack, but he could technically attack somebody else and then splash Volt. Something like the Droid Tri-Fighter or Ten Num for that matter. Or you're gonna have more snipe in your lists because now there is an ace with counter 4. There's Shara with counter 3 that is pain. There is also Sienna who has counter 2, but you're always obstructed if you shoot her. And all these guys make it very, very nasty not to have something that can snipe. And then especially looking at Republic fleets, I think Ahsoka is going to be much more seen as an officer with squadrons on Republic. So, moving on to the third card that got spoiled a bit at Adepticon, we have the Mandalorian Gauntlet Fighter. Sadly, after looking way too much into this, I had hoped we would get a generic Mandalorian Gauntlet Fighter, which would be absolutely brutal for Rebels, like they would love that. But it is Fan Rao, I don't know how to pronounce it. Correct me in the comments, I guess. And well, I gotta say, he is absolutely, well, good, but also not terrifyingly good, if that makes any sense. Like he's good, but he's not great because he's got assault, which is still a bit useless. But then you've got the blue black that the Empire Ace also still has, so that's fine, I guess. Blue black also most of the times will proc the assault. So you're going to be able to give out a bit of raid, and with the Captain Rex card, you might also actually be able to make the raid stick. Then he has the big thing that is the escort, which everybody loves on the Rebels because, well, now you can do big small, you can get Hera in there, you can get generics, and you can sploosh away the damage that he gets, so that's great. Also, he has 7 HP, also very good. The single brace, I mean, the stats aside the escort and the effect are the same as the Imperial Ace for the Mandalorian Gauntlet Fighter. Only I think the Imperial Ace is 1 point less pricey, I think. Going into the effect is when you are chosen to activate by a squadron command. After the activation is resolved, choose up to 2 non-unique squadrons at distance 1. The chosen squads may activate as if they were chosen by the squad command. Now, this is a whole lot of text, and what is good about it? Well, they were chosen by the squadron command, so it says in my interpretation, we're gonna see errata on this pretty soon, I'm sure, just to clarify it on clarify. But since they were chosen by the squadron command that activated him, I guess it's also fair to suggest that they got activated by the same ship, so they might be able to also get flight controllers on that. But that might be a bit too much. I don't know. I will see how that is interpreted by the actual rules interpreter guys. Pretty interested on that. The drawback is it has to be 2 non-unique squadrons, and they have to be at distance 1 when he ends his activation, and that is my main problem with him. So now, if you have him and you activate him and you move him somewhere and he engages something, well, guess what? The only squadrons he's going to be able to actually activate are guys that are already engaged with that. So they had to be engaged with whatever he is shooting at last turn, and now are unactivated, so you can activate them, or they weren't activated at all. That they engaged it this turn, and they are already activated. In which case you can't activate them. So I think his effect is going to have a very, very small area where it actually can be applied. Especially regarding like rebels that have something like Adar Talon, who can like toggle the activation slider back to the unactivated side. This would be great, but then again, you don't really want to toggle the activation slider of a generic squadron. Well, a non-unique squadron. So I don't know. I think we're gonna see him just in that escort ball for big balls, and I don't think we're gonna see him much beyond that. He might actually be taken with Riken, just so you have like a 7 HP escort guy that once he dies, you can resurrect him. And like if you activate him and you have the squadrons in the right position, you might be able to actually extend your activation range by a lot with him. But it like you have to do a lot of stuff to actually make his text work. So I think Riken is gonna love him for the 4 speed 7 hull escort. And on top of that, Big Balls are gonna love him because of the 7 hull escort. And I think that's all we're gonna have to talk about him. Next squadron is Wat Tambor in the Balbula 22 Starfighter Squadron, and this one was kind of hinted at, but not already spoiled at Adepticon. And basically everything I talked about, what I would love from Wat Tambor back then came true. Um, the only thing I have to say right now is he's probably the only squadron in the game that is unique and has defense tokens, but does not have an effect. In my opinion, that's not bad though, because we've got somebody with escort and screen. And I talked about that in my first video where I said, well, if you give it escort and screen, it might actually be a bit broken. Because now you're going to activate what? You're going to throw them in, and you're also going to throw like 3 vultures into there. And then whenever your opponent attacks you, well, he has to attack Watambor because he's escort, but you're gonna make him reroll up to 3 dice, which is absolutely dumb. I love it. I think this is gonna give Separatist squadron balls a lot more staying power, which is well, they're lacking it, but it's a bit dumb. Also, looking at the black anti-ship dice, well done, AMG. I love it. Regarding his defense tokens, double brace would have probably been better, especially if you look at Vader, who also has the brace evade. Not the best token suite, but double brace with escort and screen might have been dumb, like even dumber. So well, now you can make your opponent reroll dice and then use your evade to make them reroll the dice they just rerolled. So well, do with that as you wish, but I gotta say, cool card, cool card. I think he's gonna give a lot of value to separatist squadron fleets. Last card we got is Matchstick in the BLB Y-Wing for the Republic. And this one I like. I think he's not gonna be terribly good, but he's okay. So while you are unengaged, friendly squadrons with bomber at distance 1 gain rogue. This again, I think is not a really well worded effect because how long do they have rogue? When do they gain the rogue? Do they gain it while they're at distance 1? So, for example, you move them to the squadrons you want to have rogue. Then your squadron activates and it moves somewhere. Then it wants to shoot, but wow, it's not at distance 1 anymore, so it doesn't have rogue anymore. Or does it still have rogue because it gained rogue, so it keeps rogue? Also, the rogue, it says it gains rogue, but not until the end of the activation or the end of the phase. So does it keep the rogue for the whole game? Well, I probably guess it's not intended to keep the rogue for the rest of the game, but still, AMG, I don't wanna be mad because this is great, but this is not well worded. Gotta say, not well worded. Anyway, he's 14 points for a Y-Wing. It's cool. It's cool. Um, I think he's probably not gonna give Rogue a whole lot because he has to be unengaged. So even the smallest fighter screen will just throw the squadrons at Matchstick and be like, well, nobody gains Rogue. There you go. But he might be good. It's just like um, Garfleets already have so many good aces that the slot is very contested for Matchstick to be in there. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be seen a lot. Maybe he's not gonna be seen a lot. We're gonna see, but I think he's gonna be more around B tier. Anyway, if you like my breakdown and if you agree or disagree with me, please do leave a comment. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. Anyway, I wanna thank you, AMG. No, this video is not sponsored. That would be way too good, but I don't think they sponsor anyone. Now, I just want to thank you, AMG, for not letting this game die. Um, the Armada community, if for any AMG employee that watches this video, we all love the game. We love that you are still putting stuff into the game, and whenever you are going to bring out a new ship for Armada, I will be the first one to just buy it. You could probably even just print these cards in like a well-printed manner and put them as a like a little squadron pack into the store. I would pay €5 for this probably. Maybe, well, yeah, I think €5 would be where um I would draw the line. I probably wouldn't pay 10, but anyway, I think you could even make money out of this, but I would love for you to make money out of Armada again because it's just such a great game. I just want to have it go on. So anyway, thank you for watching, everybody, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.